Big Z Reviews. Bodies is a new Netflix series that came out recently, and I found it to be really interesting. There's a lot to enjoy about this show.
There's been 3 murders on Long Harvest Lane, decades apart.
You've fallen down a rabbit hole. I can't follow you.
Tell me what's going on.
The body is from the past, present, and future.
So the whole premise of Bodies is that there is a body that shows up like in this cycle, like with like 40 years in between. I mean, maybe a little bit more than 40, like 50 years in between or something like that. Like and each one, the body shows up naked with a gunshot to this body's eye and like a mark on his arm, and that like you have detectives from like the early 1900s, then the 1940s, then the modern day, 2020s, and then like the 2050s or something like that, in the future. And like there's like this, it's really interesting how they do it, because the whole thing, each one that you show up, like you see the first one, then you see the second one, and then it's like the same exact body. And then like the first episode is like after you see all the settings, then you see the future one. And in the future one, the body is still alive. And like there's a lot of like this is like a time travel romp. A time travel whodunit. Well, not exactly whodunit, but it's like you kind of figure out relatively early on, but like how done it. And that the whole idea is that like the main detectives, there is Amaka Okafor as Shahara Hassan, Kyle Solar as Alfred Hillinghead, Shira Haas as Iris Maplewood, Jacob Fortune-Lloyd as Charles Whiteman. And they're each one is very different detectives, but they're all really interesting. And you kind of see like British policing throughout the ages. And there's interesting stuff with like there's Stephen Graham as Mannix, and he is a guy that is around in a lot of the times in different ways. And you also have Tom Mothersdale as Gabriel Defoe, or the Body. And there's a lot of curious things going on. Although at the same time, like the time travel, the aspect of it is interesting. And it's interesting how like there's something going on, you don't know what the bodies are or how it's working. But like when it's like at the same time, the way the time travel works, like I was kind of with it, because the whole idea that like it kind of makes the show suck at the same time. For most of it, it seems like kind of depressing. Like no matter what they do, they can't really change anything to happen because it happened. That's what I really like about with time travel stuff, is that if you create different universes, like you go back and like you're in a different if you change anything, you're not going to be changing anything for your world, because it's going to result in a different world. I really like that aspect. But this one, like the way it does it, like at the same time, there's a little bit. If you do time travel, then you kind of break your own rules when you have when you have a paradox. And Mannix is like a paradoxical character, and I love the stuff that's revealed later on. It's really interesting, but at the same time, it's like towards the end. I'm not going to spoil it, but they do things where it doesn't seem like it would work for how their time travel apparently works. Like they break their own rules too much, and it kind of annoyed me a little bit. But at the same time, there's there's a little bit of open-endedness. If they would somehow get a second season, with how Netflix is with like canceling seasons, it probably won't. So like it gives you an ending, but they also set up for, hey Netflix, if you want a second season, we could do one. What do you think? And maybe they could save how they broke the time travel in the second season. But like, the whole thing, like how would it work? If they change, like if you the way they did some of it, like it's all, if you change something, then it's like you it was always like that, and I kind of love that, that the way that it's really set up is everything happened, and it's going to happen again. You can't really do anything to stop it, and that's how this idea of time travel would work. But then they have to have something for these characters to do to not be so fatalistic, because at a certain point, like I stopped watching it for a little bit. I didn't finish it because it's kind of getting a downer. It's kind of like, well, I see where this is going. They're still not going to be able to stop it. The whole idea, like in the present time, there's like a huge terrorist attack that like changes the world, and that like, so that like there's a lot of stuff going on there, and like the future is like very different, and like so there's a lot of shenanigans, and like I like that they changed the rules to like at least give something for the characters to do, to maybe change the outcome, but at the same time they break their own rules too much a little bit. But it's the way they do it is kind of interesting. Like the results of some of the stuff that occurs is like, oh, that was cool. But at the same time, like I feel like when they do that, it would almost like cause some universal explosion. Like it would like break the universe by what they did. Like instead it just kind of like resolves, and it's like it's interesting, but at the same time, like I don't know, it doesn't really work. But it's a lot of cool stuff here. All the characters, all the actors are really good. It's really interesting seeing them in the different times, like trying to solve the same murder, or what they think of the murder, or they don't know what exactly it is. But there's a lot of cool stuff here, and I would recommend it. Probably give like an 8.5, 8.25 out of 10. But thanks for watching. If you want to see more of me, you can subscribe down below. Thanks.